Hello, people. I am SallyJoMCooper. Welcome to the edge of my mind. Let's jump off. I have been not getting started on my Phoenix series. So I decided I have to just start showing people where I'm at with it and start actually doing it. I'm trying to make sure I do full recordings when I'm painting, and I wanted it to be when I'm doodling too, but it becomes laborious to the point that I don't get it done then. So I kind of let go of the sketching portion, and I decided I would talk about the sketches and the pre-sketches, and then I will record the main feature. I also decided for this series I would quit working on board for a little bit. So, I'm trying to see if I want to show you. I usually draw quite a few iterations. I think some of my other iterations are in other books on these ones. Yeah, wait. Yeah, okay. So I have one past iteration, and I'm playing with some concepts. Now these are pretty rudimentary, but that's usually how I start with any series, is I go with very rudimentary sketches. And then I went back and forth trying to decide if I was going to incorporate certain ideas into this series or into another series. But the ones that I ended up going with are these four here. This one was the original idea that I had for the Phoenix series, and it is basically like a church window, and there's butterflies falling in the church window, and they're landing upon a figure who's floating about 6 inches off the floor, laying down, and everywhere where they're touching the person, that person is dissolving. And honestly, I don't know completely what it's about. It's about transformation, obviously, and also the butterflies were immediately orange. And this is going to be my first series with a very consistent color scheme. And it's all going to be in these oranges and these blacks and then gold. I'm going to add in a little bit of blue just as a complement, but it's going to be mostly the oranges, yellows, blacks, like fire and black. Like that's where the name the Phoenix series comes from. The next one I thought of, which isn't the next one I drew, is this bathing in the light of the rising suns. And it's a figure standing on a black hill, and there's 3 suns rising. And I keep going back and forth with whether they're going to have their arms up in a victory pose or their arms down to the side. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm probably just going to have to do it both ways and decide on the canvas. And then I have one, I finally figured out imagery for the crippling nature of boundless opportunities, and I've decided to do a figure on top of a range of ridges, and I'm still not 100% thrilled with that imagery. I think in the future I might think of something way better, but at least it's relatable, and I think I'll be able to do all the trails in a nice perspective that will allow for that moment where it's difficult to decide your future. Like, I think that will relate well through deciding on different trails, but it's not optimal. I wish I could think of better symbolic imagery for the crippling nature of boundless opportunities, but I haven't yet. And the last one is maybe the creepiest. I didn't know if I was going to include this one or if this one belonged in a different series for a while, but ultimately I've decided it goes in this series. This is a figure, and at first the figure was kind of made out of light, but I've switched it to the figure carrying a light, and they're carrying the light down a tunnel of eyes. And it's something about the exposure of ourselves in the digital age, or something like that. And this is usually how it is with these ideas. I get the imagery way before I completely understand them, and I kind of have to work it out. I'm continuing reading Joseph Campbell. I pretty much went through one of the books. I've started on The Hero with a Thousand Faces again. I read part of it earlier this year and then got derailed, and so I kind of have to just read through it again. But I have canvases bought, and I'm going to set out a color palette and then start recording as I paint, hopefully later this week. That's the plan. But that's what's been going on. This has been the first artist accounts about the Phoenix series. I hope you have a wonderful day. The sea is not quite the absolute rapture that is the Milky Way at night, alone in the depths, but it is something like that. It's the edge of the world, and it is wondrous. I find the same reprieve here, though it's not quite as simple as a landscape that you don't have to share, or you share by being speckled about it. The sea is a place where people come together to appreciate the same thing. And also the sea, unlike the night sky and the hills, is in a constant changing. The beaches are in a constant changing, and somehow that is their wonder. So that's something different, something more temporal. It gives you a better understanding to the idea of the sands of time, though I don't know if that is the intent of the author of those words. Someone out there living it up. Good for him. Beach going can be such an elegant communal experience, though I often go by myself. But even just seeing people I don't know here is something very splendid too. There's a stingray coming by us here. I don't know if it'll come up on camera or not.